Welcome to Play on News, where we play on news because it's a play on news, and this is a wordplay of play on news. So, I'm Lord Splice, your host for this week's Play on News. First thing I want to talk about today is Moon Knight. I've been talking about this series, I'm hyped for this series. We get a lot more than we asked for with this series because of the fact that we actually see the dual identities of Mark Spector actually talking. So, it's really, really cool. Now, Moon Knight himself has a very interesting history in the comics, and we see a little bit of it here. We also see some of the supporting characters. I'm very, very hyped for this trailer. This trailer had me, well, the other trailers had me on the edge, but this new final official trailer for it has me hyped for it, and this is one of my go-to shows so far of 2022. I cannot wait to see this show. Witcher just pulled a recent teaser trailer, and I've played Witcher 1, Witcher 2, and Witcher 3. I've actually played Witcher 3 like 4 times. I've beaten it like 3 times because I have it on my Switch and also have it on my PC, then also have my Xbox. It's a lot. So they actually came out and said that it is a Lynx medallion. Now the thing about a Lynx medallion is it comes from a fan fiction. And I don't know if they paid this person, but I think somebody should investigate if they paid this person to adapt their fan fiction, because they could just be legally ripping it off and saying we knew nothing about it, but still using the Link School. If you know anything about Witcher lore, what you follow between 1, 2, and 3 games is the Wolf School. This would be the first time we're seeing a different school in the form of a Link School that we're able to play. So because of that, I'm very, very curious if what we're going to be seeing is going to be Geralt traveling to a Link School and training, or is it going to be Ciri starting her own school of the Link School and training? Or are they going to, like I said, adapt the fan fiction? There's a lot of different ways that this can go, and I'm excited to see which ways they're actually going to take it. Tekken has just come out with a new anime series called Tekken Bloodline. I am not a fan of that name because my book is called Bloodlines, but sure, let's all just hop on a Bloodline train, right? Anyway, it looks pretty good. Jin Kazama's in it. Maximilian actually just made a whole reaction review to it, which put me onto it. But the problem is he couldn't use any of the footage, so I highly doubt we'll be able to use the footage. But if we can, let's do it. If not, I'm sorry. So it looks really good. It looks action-packed, and I'm hoping we get at least a few seasons out of it. But I'm going to be doing more research because I'm hoping it's not a limited series. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. It's being made by Ilphonic. If you know anything about Ilphonic, they've done Friday the 13th and Predator Hunting Grounds. I was a fan of the Friday the 13th game, even though I'm a horror, like, see me stuttering right now. I'm not a horror fan. I'm a horror pussy when it comes down to that. But the game was extremely fun, and I do know a lot of Jason Voorhees lore because of my mother. She was a big Friday the 13th fan, so was my brother, so I always watched it with them. But Michael Myers, so that's where I was going with this. Michael Myers is still my all-time favorite horror movie villain, just because that one scene where you think he's dead at the end of the first movie and you look and the motherfucker's gone. Like, that is terrifying because that's where the movie leaves off at. So imagine being that person now, having to live day after day knowing he's still alive. Like, that is that right there is what makes me fucking terrified. Anyway, back on topic. Ilphonic, the people that made that Friday the 13th game and Predator Hunting Ground, which I have a lot of videos of on this channel, they're making a new game called Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed. And it's going to be 4 Ghostbusters going against one player as a ghost, so kind of like Evolved or Predator Hunting Grounds or Friday the 13th, you see where I'm going with this, is that type of game. But it's going to be set in different Ghostbuster locations, so already we get more maps in Predator fucking Undergrounds. Top of that, you get Dan Aykroyd reprising his role, you get Ernie Hudson reprising his role. You got all of these original actors coming to give some legitimacy to this game, so I'm hoping, I'm praying this is one Ilphonic game that does not get shut down after a few months. Because if you know anything about Ilphonic, Friday the 13th, at the peak of his popularity, the servers got shut down. Now Predator Underground, because of all the glitches and bugs, and it got worse, nobody's playing it no more. So I'm hoping that this is one game that genuinely gets a AAA backing to where it needs to be, like every other game, like Halo and stuff like that, and actually has some servers that we can stay on and play. This game looks amazing, the lore looks amazing, and if this is any type of continuation, like canon lore, I'm all for it. Let's go. Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Me. Not Ghostbusters, me. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I'm not really sure if it was the last Play on News where we talked about Kill the Justice League, but it's now being delayed to spring 2023. I'm a little upset about that because I love my Arkham games, especially my Arkham Universe games. But if this is what it needs to do in order to polish the game where it needs to be, or to change the ending that prior was horrible, I'm all for it. I think this game has tons of fucking potential, especially seeing Evil Flash now. It has tons of potential, but we really, really need to have some type of more updates on this game than we're getting. It's slow and it's trickling out. And if you're going to push it back another year to basically this time next year, then I think you kind of got to give the fans something. You got to give them some free DLC. You got to give them a little bit more of a story. You just give us something to hold us over until then, because we expected it by the end of the year. So, don't make a promise you can't keep, and if you can't keep the promise, make up for the promise. Okay, the Quarry. The Quarry. Now, on the vein of Elphonic type games, we have another one coming out called The Quarry. The Quarry is a game that's looking amazing so far, and speaking about Elphonic and Friday the 13th and those type of games, like the 4v1 games, The Quarry is a game being backed by David Arquette. And David Arquette is lending his voice and his acting and his likeness to the game, and so is other top tier actors and actresses, and is looking to be really, really good. It's giving me that Friday the 13th Elphonic game vibe if it didn't get canceled, because it's kind of the same plot, like camp counselors going to stay overnight. David Arquette says don't do that, leaves, never comes back, and then everybody starts dying by a monster, beast, or a killer. I don't know. I honestly think it's David Arquette who is a killer, and he's a fucking werewolf or some shit. But that's a whole different theory day. But it looks pretty good. I'm for it. Like I said, I'm not a horror game fan, but I will try this one just because it's David Arquette, and dude deserves some type of love, right? Puts his body on the line for us in a lot of different ways. Wrestling, movies. He's a cool dude. Netflix now has announced a live action Resident Evil series. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm hopeful, but not too hopeful. It's just like that nice medium spot of hopefulness. Nice medium spot. Hopefully this gets fixed. Hopefully we can see what goes on. And once it gets fixed, meaning this information, maybe we can get some trailers, some screenshots, some footage, something because the movies are not anything to go by at this point, right? Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon are the champions, right? It's called Digimon Survive. I don't know too much about this product, but I will tell you it did get its little teaser trailer out, and it looks pretty cool. Take a look. Wanted Dead is another game that's being touted as the next big thing, next big game. Has nothing to do with the official Wanted franchise, like the movie and that shitty game that came out. Nothing to do with that, but it just seems like a fun, chill ride. It seems like a game that doesn't take too much. It's not going to be a sweaty type of game. It gives me very much old school wet vibes, and it looks really, really cool. So, I'm all for it. Let's go. Domen is a game that it's a release date that was just released in the recent trailer, and I can tell you right now, here's the official description, because this game is very, very low key, but it looks really good. It is a third-person action RPG. Think Warframe, and it's coming out on May 20th, 2022, so 2 months. So basically, it says set in the sci-fi universe where humanity has colonized several star systems using space travel, technology, and genetic manipulation to adapt to the conditions. Domen has players battling across yada yada yada. That sounds badass to me, and it just sounds like something that is going to be very, very competitive. So I'm all for this. This game looks great, and it's another one just like Wanted Dead that's just flying under the radar. Check this shit out, you guys. And finally, I'm on some non-pop culture news, but it's still kind of pop culture news. Super Nintendo World, you know, the thing that everybody keeps talking about they want to go visit in Japan, is actually coming to Universal Studios Hollywood in 2023. So if anybody out there is in Florida right now, tell me if you see them building anything, because I genuinely want to know, because I will be visiting this fucking park if it's anything like the one in Japan. So that is your Play On News. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay when we played, while we delivered the news. Again, I'm Lord Splice. I know it wasn't a lot of Marvel and stuff like that news this time, but hey, I can only control what they give us, right? So till next time, game over, my duddies and dudettes.